Dean Janes manages Cotner family farms in Northumberland County, Pennsylvania. It is a 1,500-acre, large-scale layer operation with field crops that has been in operation for over 100 years. Committed to soil conservation practices, Dean has led the farm in no-till soil management strategies for several decades. As the farm transitions some field to organic grain production, Dean is uneasy at the thought of tilling to control weeds and prepare seed beds. But he's optimistic about using shallow tillage equipment and cover crops to overcome the negative impacts that tillage can have on soil health.
I am concerned about what the tillage would do to the soil health. With us being no-till here consistently for, at least 30 years, it's been just continual no-till. We've built that soil structure and we get a little leery about tearing it up. We're thinking that a high-speed disc will do the job and that'll work everything in under the soil, but only till up 2 or 3 inches and not destroy what we've built over the years on down. But from what we've learned with talking with people and doing some reading, that the organic in combination with the cover crops, we can still build, hopefully, organic matter and soil health.
Years of attention to building soil health seem to have paid off. Dean sees changes on the farm and in the community.
The soil conservation aspect has always been right at the forefront, not on the back burner for us here. And it's been really neat over the years, like I said, been here almost 38, to have neighbors and be in a county that's almost green all the time now with the cover crops. We can probably prove that out with yields and because we track each field with a budget, so we know what was spent on that field, we know what we got off of that field, and we can track this. And yeah, we can pretty much prove it that with a small grain rotation and growing continuous cover crops there, and using the Cornell soil health test, with them always asking for more legumes, we're able to incorporate that. And yeah, we've seen our overall yields come up on some of those fields. Now there are worse fields. There's shaly with shallow soils, which always would dry out. And it all started with trying to increase organic matter for the water holding capacity. And so it just kind of evolved from there with what we've been able to learn.
When considering more improvements to soil health, Dean thinks that more crop diversity is key. Continuing to learn is another important component to sustainable farming.
I think there's so much that we don't have a clue about yet. There's so much to learn, so much to find out. And I guess that's kind of what makes this journey fun. If you can't learn something new at least once a week. Once a day would be even better yet. But, and that's where the challenge comes from, and I guess if you don't look at it, and that's the way it's been with the organic with me, if you don't look at it as a challenge, just something else to do, you're just going to start out where my grandfather farmed, and you see where that's gotten. So, I think it's just the challenge part of it.
Dean says history and a shared vision can influence a farm long-term.
Other than maybe the fact that, we've got how much topsoil separating us from the rest of the world, and we need to maintain that, because without that, where are we at? And to think back about how the whole evolution came about on the farm here, I've only been here for, some people say 38 years is a long time, but you look back at the rotation, and it was so neat to have grown up or been around Don Sr. for so long. Some of the first times we planted cover crops with our 40-foot planter, we had to adapt that 15-inch row cover crop. And I got him in there, and he was getting along up in age. And it was tough to get him in the tractor because of arthritis and everything. And that field that we planted in is right behind us. There's a big oak tree up here. And they get a little choked up just, because this is what it means to me. We were planting in that field, okay? And he used to go with a horse. They worked with horses way back when. And I can remember seeing pictures in 1939, the first John Deere tractor that was here and everything. And to think about plowing with a 2-bottom plow, or even the horses in that field, that same field, or an old Fordson tractor or whatever to go to driving through that thing with a planting cover crops after soybeans with a 40-foot planter is just how far we've come here, you know. And so a lot of times I reflect back on that to move forward. So it is important to know where you've been. But don't do something just because that's the way that the old man did it. That's the poorest excuse.
Dean recommends keeping an open mind and learning from other people if you're looking to transition to organic crop production.
It doesn't have to be the them and us thing. We can all learn from each other because there's a lot of things that the conventional guys could learn from the organic guys and vice versa, you know. The Secretary of Ag was at a meeting and he said that when you tear down one part of agriculture, you're really doing it to all of agriculture. So where do we really want to be here? You know, because there's always something you can learn from someone else. And I told my kids this for years, is one thing how to be, the other thing is how not to be. So we can always learn, we just have to figure out what we're learning.